Happy Thursday, Truflation Nation. We're back again. Inflation is pretty flat, hasn't changed very much. Slightly ups, but we're going to see more up coming down. And today I got a rich, packed set of content after yesterday, where we talked about the importance of decentralization, censorship resistance, immutability, as well as permissionless participation and permissionless ability to access data, with what's going on around censorship, etc. And today I'm going to talk to you about what's going on in the UK around recession. We've got threats and suggestions associated with stagflation. What is stagflation? And then also we'll go into the big issue around debt and some of the G20 insights. And you're going to get a lot of interesting sources as to where you can go to continuously educate yourself. One of the things that I pride myself on, and we at Truflation are really driven by, is the ABL, always be learning. It's up to us as a society to continuously elevate ourselves, push ourselves, and stretch our minds. So always be learning, right? There's something new you got to walk away with at the end of every day, and remember that. That to me is why we're here and what I'm excited about. And I'm learning something every day, and that's what I get excited about. But the UK currently, I'll share with you what UK is experiencing: a 9% interest inflation, right? So they're experiencing 9% inflation. And as I mentioned, the UK is heavily skewed towards the services industry. It doesn't have very much in terms of manufacturing. It doesn't have very much in terms of resources. It has a lot of wind, has a lot of oil, but they've banned the ability to extract and build out wind farms. They've banned the ability to extract the oil and build new oil mines in order to extract that energy and those resources and commercialize off that. So they've decided as a nation to focus largely on services industry. And so there was a report that came out from Reuters that's highlighting the risk of recession. Consumers don't seem to be caring. But I'll come back to this a bit later on. Why do they not care? Ultimately, because the government is running a huge budget deficit and is spending way more than they're generating. And so as a result, the actions and the way that consumers don't care is ultimately as a result of direct distributions of monies through pandemics. Which, is that right or wrong? I don't know, but I sure as hell don't see that as a long-term competitive viable option, especially considering what's taking place around the world and how other nations are acting and maintaining and running economies within their budgets. But either way, what does this mean, and where is the UK going? You've got recession threats. The only way I believe the UK can really make their way out of this is not by trying to follow all the guidelines that the WEF, the G20, and the EU are trying to sort of stipulate. They need to find new, innovative ways to differentiate themselves in the crypto space. How can I have a different framework for AI? How can I have a different framework for gene technologies, for biotech? And how can I accelerate the processes in getting approval with the transparency that would be expected to gain the trust associated with that approval process? That is a competitive advantage now that they're Brexited, etc. That's something that they can play with. But they have a leader that is not going to do that, right? He's an ex-banker. He's going to kowtow to the banks. And you can see already what's happening, right? They're going down the route of the World Economic Forum, the G20, and the EU, where they're supporting their banking infrastructure to to ban crypto transactions. So you've all seen this. It's been out in the noise. Is that good or bad thing? I don't know. But ultimately, it's inhibiting growth. It's inhibiting income. It's inhibiting and restricting the growth and job creation, new opportunities because of the legacy, big boys, centralized institutions. And I'll go to you more. It's not just happening within one case of crypto. It's trying to shut down on and off ramps, right? And so they're also doing that with Nigel Farage, right? They shut down his bank account, and NatWest and Coots shut down his bank account. So when it happens to you. And well, you can see all these ads here. I've been looking at some bikes, and somehow Cookie's in here displaying the bike ads. So I love biking, by the way. So I get up every morning at 5 a.m. and I do my 60K bike ride. I love it. It's the most mind clearing thing, and I get to listen to a lot of podcasts, so I'm always learning during my bike rides. But either way, you're just seeing a lot of these shutdowns, right? And not only are they shutting down, the same institution that's banning JP Morgan, they use the Chase brand name, but it's actually owned by JP Morgan, right? And so this same centralized, systemically important bank run by this Jamie Dimon, sort of, I'm sure super smart, never met the guy, but, definitely very opinionated, hard-assed, sort of leader. And I suppose he's there for a reason, and he's been around for a really long time. But anyway, he warns that the Fed is going to raise interest rates up to 7% and warns about stagflation. And if you remember yesterday, we talked about the GDP. So stagflation, what does that mean? The economy is declining and the inflation is there as well. So the stagnation of an economy, so flat economy, inflation is high, unemployment's low. We've had this a while back in the 70s, I think it was. Oil prices grow really high, and the safe haven then was oil. Where's the safe haven today, right? Is the safe haven oil still? Sorry, gold. Gold was the safe haven. It's not gold anymore. It's going to be Bitcoin. It's got to be crypto. This is the safe haven. This is the money of the freedom. And I hate to say this, but I just don't see any other alternative. And this is why their institutions are getting ready in this space, right? But either way, they're reporting a stagflation. If interest rates do go up to 7%, there will be a significant change in the economic outcome, right? At the moment, the economy is still humming at about 2%, depending on the numbers. We'll find out later today. But it's going to be about 2% in Q2, and Q3 generally is historically is a good quarter with the summer months in there before we hit Q4. So either way, it's definitely something. But don't watch what these guys say. Watch what they do. And I can only imply there's a really good video out there that was put together in 2018, and it was on the Glenn Beck. It was on Glenn Beck or fuelgates.crypto. I'll put the link in the footer here. But watch this video. It's about the Great Conspiracy, and what this analyst does. He goes into extreme detail in terms of when these guys say crypto is a fraud and they buy Bitcoin. And then all of a sudden they have a big position and they have a big desk that supports Bitcoin. Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Soros, all of these actors that have been saying it's a bubble, it's bad, don't buy into this, it will collapse, etc. Watch this video, but I'll show you a quick clip here. Let's see if we can play this.
Between 1994 to 1995, which was exactly when institutions were saying, oh, this is just market for idiots. Nobody should be buying this stuff. So they literally stole all this wealth that should have been in the hands of individuals that owned Dell, Microsoft, and AOL. And then from 1995 to 2000, of course, we saw $5 trillion come into the market, in the biggest bull market we've ever seen. So this blueprint of
and he argues that the blueprint of this is nothing new. It's been developed from the internet days, when the dot-com boom and crash, and that's where they've taken this MO, so this modus operandi.
I'm taking the junk off the table.
Yeah.
That's not junk now.
It's not junk. When it's dropped 40 to 60%, it's not junk. So this happened between 2011, 2012. Blackstone Group buys 50,000 homes. But during this period of time, the regular individual couldn't get a mortgage. Right?
And they're saying the same happened not only not only in the dot-com boom and bust and then resurrection, it also happened in the real estate market when the real estate boomed and bust. Anyway, check out the video. It's a long video, but they basically say that, right? And so these same institutions that go out there and say crypto is bad, crypto, don't touch this, don't do this, property is crashed, we can get a loan and borrow and buy property, we can, .com is over. They go out and buy it. They've built out this special model that allows them to follow up on it. And there's a set of reasons as to why these things are happening, right? We mentioned earlier that stagflation, if interest rates goes up, and we know it's going to go up, right? We know the economy's doing well, employment's still high, and economy's still growing, and inflation will pick up, right? But at the same time, we also know people look for safe havens when interest rates goes up and stagflation hits. Should stagflation hit, and it'll hit sometime next year because there's always a huge lag as to when these things hit. But when it hits, where is the safe haven? Is it the gold? I don't think so. I think the new gold is going to be Bitcoin, as we all know, right? Bitcoin is the digital gold, and it allows you to take it with you on a stick. And you can then have all your gold with you. You don't need to carry lugs and lugs of gold with you. And there's a great example. I think Ron Neuner's parents had to flee Iran, Lebanon, and go back and they had their gold taken away from them. So they couldn't even take it across the border. Check, I can't remember the country where his parents originally lived, but in order to leave, they had to leave all the gold behind. So actually witnessing it specifically, but Bitcoin, they can't take from you. It's in your wallet. You have the passwords. So just bear that in mind. And part of the reason why is you're also seeing debt surging, right? We're in a debt crisis. These governments are not managing their budgets appropriately. They cannot manage. They're buying votes. They're giving money, your taxpayer dollar, they're giving back to you. They're printing new money. They're giving you additional tax on top of the tax that you're already paying by providing you the perception that they're giving you more money and they're being nice to you, but they're not. And then they're going and hiring 1,000 more people or 80,000 more people to figure out how to tax you more. And to chase down every single penny because they're struggling with meeting interest rates, right? So just look at this. I mean, it's surged $307 trillion is the worldwide debt, right? And the biggest growth, I mean, this is behind a paywall, so I'm not going to show this to you, but the biggest growth, and I don't have subscription to this site because I generally don't read mainstream media, but if you look at the biggest growth, where it's coming from, it's actually generated by US, France, Japan, and the UK. So those are the markets that are spending the most. And why are those countries spending the most? And where is that money going? Is it going to more bureaucrats? Is it going? I don't know where it's going. Let them tell you. They don't even know where it's going, right? I mean, they don't even know how they're spending it. But I can tell you one thing for sure: as interest rates go up, the selection and the payment of interest is going to grow up. There's a really cool site, Invest Answers. Go check out their YouTube. Lots of detailed, meaty insights and data. So you have to be in the mindset to listen to this. And the best time to do that is in the morning when you're still fresh, your brain is awake and ready to suck and be a sponge. But basically what they highlight is just visualizing what is $1 trillion, right? None of us can even imagine $1 trillion. And so this is the same scale, right? So when you look at $1 billion, this is what it looks like at that scale. When you look, this is a human. Look, the human's still overlooking, the pile. It's still within a range that you can see. This same human at scale here is looking at $1 trillion. I mean, look at that size, right? It's not just one block, it's 2 blocks on top of each other. Look at that. I mean, that's to just give you the magnitude of debt that's being incurred. I know it's super depressing to know that these people that are constantly telling us and lying to our faces that we've got everything covered. Don't worry, trust in us. You get to choose the color of the new euro notes by the 3 pre-selected colors that we have already chosen, but you can choose them and you can have my face on that note, right? I mean, that's the sort of, these are the people that we're entrusting to look after us and to look at the best benefits for our economies, for us as a nation, and to build a competitive society. It's not give you money. I need to give you money every single day. This is a Chinese philosophy. Use the money to teach you how to learn a skill set. I only need to do that once, because the second time you can do it on your own. I think the saying is around a fish, right? I if I teach you to fish, I teach you once, and then you can go and fish your own food every day. If I give you a fish, I have to give you a fish every single day. We want to, like with our kids, teach our generations how to be self-sustaining and look after themselves, be independent, think critically. That is what we need to do. That is what the role of governments need to be and should be. Instead, they're going to be spending a lot of their money and our tax dollars. 50% of tax income goes towards servicing debt, not amortizing the debt, but paying the interest on that debt. As interest rates rise, cost of capital goes up. The amount of debt is $33 trillion. The interest associated with that debt is about 50% of the overall tax income. Just figure that. And then they just want to spend more money. I don't know if that's the right thing. We need to align incentives, incentivize governments to act in the best interest of society. How can we accelerate innovation in green, clean technologies, in biotechnologies, in AI technologies, blockchain technologies? How do we incentivize the creation of jobs, the creation of new innovations, etc., in the creation of talent that can work in those environments? Because those will be the mega industries of this century. Let's build them. Let's get them working, right? Not try to figure out how we can do CBDCs, or how we can do digital identities controlled by centralized, intransparent entities that decide on a whimsical that they have to censor anybody that has an opinion. They can print money and dilute anybody's assets anytime that they feel like, etc., etc. That's my view. There's a great video here. Please check this out. G20. It's by Valuetainment, and Patrick Bet-David goes into great detail and with great acumen associated with what these G20 nations, where Russia and China weren't a part of, by the way, when they came together in India, and what they discussed. So please take a look at this. And this is all really a lot of insight. And then I mentioned Invest Answers. So here, check out Invest Answers. They have a great YouTube channel, and watch some of their content as well. So they do an amazing stream of insights. So you've got lots of new content there. Please check it out. I'm not sharing this tab right now, so I will share this tab. So this is Invest Answers. And here, this is Patrick Bet-David's Valuetainment. Check this out. A good insight onto G20. I'll have all of these links down in the comment section below. Please check them out. And I hope that was a bit longer than the usual 5 minutes, 20 minutes. But I think it was useful, and I just wanted to give you some feedback after my 2-week road trip. What's going on around the world? What are some of the activities that we're seeing? And I hope you found this useful, and have a happy Thursday. And remember, DCA all the time, and try to find ways to offset your exposure to centralized institutions and the upcoming inflation, debt crisis that we're in. What can we do against that, and how do we prepare for that? Thank you, everybody.